Eternal, blissful, self, pure, Buddha-nature and the Tathagata Garbha, an in-depth introduction to the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sūtra. 1. Explanation of the title. What does Nirva mean? Nirva is a transliteration of the Sanskrit word, also rendered as Nippon in Chinese. Its implied meanings include extinction, still extinction, passing beyond, and perfect quiescence. The Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra elucidates the profound implications of this ultimate state in Buddhism. The original meaning of nirva is to blow out or to extinguish, metaphorically referring to the blowing out of the burning fires of affliction, attaining the liberated state of enlightened wisdom. This is the ultimate reality that transcends the deluded realm of birth and death, the final goal of Buddhist practice. Hence, it is listed as one of the 3 Dharma seals, known as, Nirva is peaceful and calm. However, the Nirva expounded in this sutra is not the Hinayana concept of the extinction of body and consciousness, but rather the ultimate perfection of eternity, bliss, self, and purity. 2. Core Teachings Part 1, The Eternal Dharma-body and the 4 Virtues of Nirva. 1. The Eternal Dharma-body, dispelling the misconception of annihilation. In contrast to the Hinayana Buddhist tenets of impermanence, suffering, emptiness, and no self, the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra explicitly states, although the Buddha manifests the appearance of entering nirva, his Dharma-body is eternally present and indestructible, as firm as a vajra. The sutra uses the metaphor of a vajra vase to represent true liberation, stating, even if countless hundreds of thousands of people all simultaneously shoot at it, they cannot destroy it. Illustrating that the Tathagata's Dharma-body is indestructible. The significance of this teaching lies in its fundamental shift in understanding the Buddha. The Buddha is not a historical figure who once existed and has now disappeared, but rather eternal truth itself. The Buddha's parinirva is merely the conclusion of his manifested emanation body. The Dharma-body is without arising or ceasing and pervades all places. This provides a solid foundation for the faith of Buddhist disciples. What we take refuge in is not a deceased sage, but the eternal truth. 2. The 4 Virtues of Nirva, the true meaning of eternity, bliss, self, and purity. The most famous teaching of the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra is its proclamation that the state of nirva possesses 4 qualities: eternity, bliss, self, and purity. Eternity, nitya, means existing forever, transcending arising and ceasing. Ordinary people perceive all things as impermanent, which is true, but behind impermanence lies the truly eternal. Just as waves rise and fall, ceasing moment by moment, yet the nature of water itself has no arising or ceasing. The same is true for the mind nature of sentient beings. Bliss, sukha, means infinite happiness, transcending the experience of suffering. Worldly pleasures arise dependent on causes and conditions. When those conditions end, the pleasure ceases, making it essentially suffering. The bliss of nirva, however, does not depend on any conditions. It is the inherent perfection of life itself. Self, Atman, means true autonomy, transcending attachment to the notion of no self. Hinayana teaches no self to break ordinary people's attachment to a false sense of self. But after eliminating the false self, there remains the true self, namely, Buddha-nature, the Dharma-body. This self is not the false self composed of the 5 aggregates, but the truly autonomous, ultimate life. Purity, subha, means ultimate purity, transcending the defilements of affliction. Although sentient beings are covered by afflictions, their inherent nature has never been defiled. It is like a bright pearl fallen into mud, its luster remains undiminished. The sutra profoundly points out, ordinary people clinging to eternity, bliss, self, and purity within the realm of sasara constitutes the 4 inverted views. Hinayana practitioners clinging to impermanence, suffering, no self, and impurity within nirva also constitutes the four inverted views. Only by transcending both extremes, and truly knowing the Buddha-nature's true eternity, true bliss, true self, and true purity, can one understand what the Tathagata taught. This insight seamlessly integrates worldly and transcendent dharmas, negating the deluded attachments of ordinary people while simultaneously transcending the one-sided emptiness of the Hinayana. It can be described as the ultimate expression of the middle way view. 3. Core Teachings Part 2, All Sentient Beings Possess Buddha Nature. 1. The complete establishment of the Buddha nature theory. The most stirring teaching of the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sūtra is that all sentient beings possess Buddha nature. The sutra repeatedly states, "In my present body, I definitely possess Buddha nature, whether I will realize it or not, I cannot yet be certain." All sentient beings without exception possess Buddha nature. The Tathagata is eternal, without change or variation. This means that becoming a Buddha is not a privilege for a few, but the inherent right of every living being. Buddha nature is not cultivated later, it is originally inherent. It is not obtained from outside, it needs to be discovered. The sutra uses the metaphor of a poor woman's hidden treasure. A poor woman has gold hidden in her house but does not know it, so she lives in poverty. Later, someone informs her, and she excavates it, becoming wealthy. Sentient beings originally have Buddha nature, but it is covered by afflictions, and they do not recognize it. Once pointed out by a spiritual friend and developed through practice, they can become Buddhas. 2. The Ekantika can also become a Buddha. Particularly important is the sutra's explicit statement that even the Ekantika, those who have cut off all wholesome roots, can ultimately become Buddhas. The sutra uses the metaphor of milk containing the essence of curds. Sentient beings possess Buddha nature, just as milk originally contains the potential for curds, but it must be processed to become curds. Although the Ekantika have cut off wholesome roots, their Buddha nature is not lost. Given the right conditions, they can still become Buddhas. This assertion was a revolutionary breakthrough at the time. Hinayana Buddhism held that becoming a Buddha required practice over many kalpas, and ordinary people could only attain the state of arhat. Although Mahayana broadly opened the path to Buddhahood, some still believed that Ekantikas were devoid of Buddha nature. In the Eastern Jin dynasty, the scholar monk Shudaoshan, based on his understanding of the then incomplete sutra, boldly and independently proposed that Ekantikas can also become Buddhas. This was met with rejection by conservative members of the monastic community and was regarded as heresy. It was only when the complete translation of the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sūtra appeared, confirming his view, that his teaching was validated. The story that, when Master Sheng preached, even the stubborn rocks nodded, became a celebrated tale. This anecdote not only highlights Zhu Daosheng's foresight, but also demonstrates the profound and pioneering nature of the Buddha nature thought in the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra. 3. Seeing one's nature and attaining Buddhahood. The sutra emphasizes that although sentient beings possess Buddha nature, they have not yet become Buddhas. The key lies in whether they can eliminate obstacles and see their Buddha nature. Seeing one's Buddha nature means personally realizing the Buddha nature inherent within oneself. It is not intellectual understanding. This is similar to what the Zen school later called seeing one's nature and becoming a Buddha. Between intellectual understanding based on texts and actual realization lies the accumulation of affliction habits from beginningless time. Therefore, the sutra outlines stages such as bodhisattvas at the 10th stage, seeing a small part of their nature, and the Tathagata, clearly seeing all of it, providing a path for practitioners. 4. The path of practice, from abstaining from meat to moral discipline. 1. Establishing the rule of abstaining from meat, an influence on the dietary tradition of Chinese Buddhism. In the fourth fascicle of the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra, within the chapter on the nature of the Tathagata, there is a clear statement establishing the rule of abstaining from meat. The sutra advocates that practitioners should refrain from eating meat, reasoning that one who eats meat cuts off the seed of great compassion. This teaching profoundly influenced Chinese Buddhism. Emperor Wu of the Liang dynasty personally wrote the essay on abstaining from alcohol and meat and convened over 1,400 monks and nuns, inviting Master Faiyun of Guangzhai Temple to expound on the meaning of abstaining from meat in the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sūtra. This event established the vegetarian tradition of Chinese Han Buddhism. From then on, vegetarianism became an important marker of Chinese Buddhism and a concrete way for countless Buddhist disciples to practice compassion. This influence continues to this day and remains one of the most distinctive external characteristics of Han Buddhism. 2. Moral precepts as the manifestation of Buddha nature. The sutra's emphasis on moral precepts is also closely related to its theory of Buddha nature. Precepts are not external constraints, but the inherently pure principles of Buddha nature. Upholding precepts is not about forcing oneself, but about naturally flowing in accordance with one's true nature. This thought elevated the study of precepts to the level of the theory of mind nature, laying the foundation for later Mahayana Vinaya studies. 5. The Sutra's profound influence and its intersection with Zen thought. 1. Its foundational role in Chinese Buddha nature theory. After the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra was translated, it caused a great stir in Chinese Buddhist circles. During the northern and southern dynasties, the Nirvāṇa school flourished, becoming the most important area of Buddhist studies at the time. Doctrinally, it formed a powerful complement to the prevailing thought of prajna and emptiness, which had been popular since Kumarajiva. If the Prajna Sutras speak of emptiness, the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra speaks of existence. This existence, however, is not the substantial existence clung to by ordinary people, but the true, wondrous existence of Buddha nature. From then on, true emptiness and wondrous existence became a core issue in Chinese Buddhism. And schools such as Tiantai, Huayan, and Zen all took this as their ideological foundation. 2. Influence on doctrinal classification, Panjiao, thought. From the perspective of doctrinal classification, Hui Guan, based on the 5 flavors metaphor in the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra, from the cow comes milk, etc., established the 5 periods of teaching. Classifying the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra as the 5th period, the teaching of permanence, considering it the ultimate expression of the Buddha's teachings. Tiantai Zi further developed this, positioning the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra as the retrospective and merging, post-Lotus scripture. Together with the Lotus Sutra constituting the complete and perfect teaching of the Buddha's whole life. This doctrinal classification thought became an important source for the theoretical frameworks of Chinese Buddhist schools. 3. Deep intersection with Zen Buddhism. The Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra deeply influenced the formation of Zen thought. The 6th Patriarch Huineng resolved the doubts of the Zen master Zhi Dao concerning the sutra, presenting the unique insight. Impermanence is precisely Buddha nature. Permanence is precisely the mind that discriminates all good and evil dharmas. Huineng argued that if one clings to Buddha nature as permanent, then no one would generate the thought of enlightenment. If already a Buddha, why practice? If one clings to all dharmas as impermanent, then everything has its own nature. Wouldn't plants and tiles also have Buddha nature? Buddha nature transcends permanence and impermanence. All good and evil dharmas are manifestations of Buddha nature. Apart from the phenomenal world, there is no ultimate reality. Apart from change, there is no true eternity. This realization of the non-duality of permanence and impermanence is the source of the Zen teaching that the ordinary is the sacred. Zhi Dao originally clung to the duality of the physical body and the Dharma-body, thinking that, when arising and ceasing cease, still extinction is bliss, meant that one body ceases and another body experiences bliss. Huineng broke through this with a verse. The supreme great Nirvāṇa is perfectly bright, eternally still and illuminating. Equal, like a dream or illusion. Without arising views of ordinary or sacred, without making interpretations of Nirvāṇa, transcending both extremes and the three times. Upon hearing this verse, Ji Dao was greatly enlightened. This exemplifies the deep intersection between the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sūtra and Zen thought, not a Buddha-nature of conceptual understanding, but a Nirvāṇa realized directly in the present moment. 6. Literary metaphors and warnings for practice. The Mahāparinirvāṇa Sūtra is renowned for its rich metaphors. These metaphors, spanning 1,000 years of time, continue to awaken and warn later practitioners. The metaphor of the 4 poisonous snakes. The sutra compares the human body, composed of the 4 great elements, earth, water, fire, wind, to a box containing 4 poisonous snakes, precarious and unstable, at any time capable of taking one's life. This is a warning about the impermanence of life. The metaphor of the 2 rats gnawing the vine. A man falls over a cliff but luckily catches hold of a vine. Above, a black rat and a white rat gnaw at the vine's root. Below, 4 poisonous snakes wait with mouths agape. This illustrates that human life passes in the blink of an eye. The 2 rats, day and night, the sun and moon, hasten impermanence. One should urgently seek liberation within this limited life. The metaphor of the blind turtle and the floating log. In the ocean, there lives a blind turtle that surfaces once every 100 years. On the ocean floats a single log with a single hole. For the blind turtle to insert its neck into that hole is extremely rare. This illustrates the rarity of obtaining a human life and encountering the Buddha's Dharma. These metaphors, with their vivid imagery and impact, became common references used in later Zen monasteries to admonish practitioners. They do not merely teach principles, they awakening us to cherish life, to yearn for liberation, and to have faith in our inherent Buddha nature. 7. The modern significance of the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra. In contemporary society, the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra continues to radiate vital wisdom. First, the theory of Buddha nature provides a foundation for human dignity and equality. If all beings possess Buddha nature, then every life has intrinsic, inviolable dignity. This serves as a profound philosophical basis for modern concepts of human rights, environmental ethics, and animal welfare. Second, the philosophy of permanence within impermanence offers a way to cope with change and loss. Modern life is characterized by rapid change and uncertainty, often leading to anxiety. The sutra teaches that beyond the ever-changing phenomenal world lies an eternal truth, our own Buddha nature. Recognizing this allows one to maintain inner stability amidst external turbulence, experiencing calm stillness even in the midst of impermanence. Third, the doctrine of all can become Buddhas addresses modern spiritual inequality. In an era that emphasizes equality, the Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra declares that spiritual perfection is not the privilege of a few saints but the right of every being. This eliminates the sense of inferiority that makes people revere sages from afar, and encourages everyone to embark on the path of self-development. Fourth, the emphasis on seeing one's nature aligns with the modern pursuit of inner experience. Contemporary people increasingly value personal, direct experience over mere doctrinal belief. The sutra's stress on personally realizing one's Buddha nature resonates with this modern emphasis on authentic, experiential spirituality. Conclusion. The Mahāparinirvāṇa Sutra is the Buddha's final teaching before entering Nirvāṇa, a summation and sublimation of his entire life's Dharma. It reveals the true reality of Nirvāṇa as eternity, bliss, self, and purity. Proclaims the universal teaching that all sentient beings possess Buddha nature, establishes the vegetarian tradition of abstaining from meat, and inspired the Buddha nature theory and Panjiao thought of Chinese Buddhism. More importantly, it conveys to every living being an unshakable confidence. No matter what situation you are in now, no matter how many unwholesome deeds you have committed, no matter how lowly you consider yourself, within your mind dwells the Tathagata's treasury, and you can perfectly realize Buddhahood. Becoming a Buddha is not a myth, but the ultimate right and destiny of every living being. Those startling metaphors. The 4 snakes in one box, the 2 rats gnawing the vine, the blind turtle and the floating log. Traverse a millennium of time, still awaken later practitioners. The matter of birth and death is great, impermanence is swift. One should realize the infinite true eternity within this finite life. And the principle of Buddha nature it proclaims, like a bright lamp in the dark night, illuminates the inner dignity of every life. This is perhaps the most precious legacy this final teaching has left for the world.